Hi, I'm Andrew Holmes. I am a student at UC Berkeley, and I'm a conservative. And my question is basically, you yourself said affordability is the issue right now. And I personally believe that Kamala's policies would have been quite disastrous for the economy. She wanted a 25% tax on unrealized gains above a certain threshold of money, but that's like the biggest investors that she's talking about there. 8% increase on capital gains tax. Investment would have been completely stifled. Then she also had inflationary policies like the child tax care credit and also the $25K grant for first-time home buyers. And that would have caused just rampant inflation in the economy. And then further, she also pushed for an increase in minimum wage, which would have caused the loss of a ton of jobs that are entry level, that are very vital to American workers. And so my question is basically, how would you back the fact that you both believe that affordability is the issue with her truthfully disastrous economic policies?
Yeah,
Can I
Adam,
ask you-
what do we do
Can I
about
ask
that,
you a
Adam?
question?
Yeah.
Do you support Donald Trump's tariff regime?
No.
Okay, so you don't support that. Did you vote for Trump?
I didn't vote. I was 17.
Okay, you would have
Ooh,
voted
good
for
luck.
Trump?
Yes, because I do believe his economic policies are not as bad as Kamala's.
Really?
Kamala's were disastrous.
Disastrous. Okay.
Yes.
You framed Kamala's economic policies as if they were radical, and some of them were a bit, like, not radical, but some of them were pushing the limits.
Not radical. I just
They're not
stated
radical,
them,
but you're
yeah.
saying like they would be disastrous.
They would be disastrous.
I think if we
yes.
compare the two, I think if we compare the two candidates' economic policy, we can go to Kamala in 1 second. But Donald Trump's tariff regime, placing tariffs on every single country indiscriminately,
Yeah, I don't
except
agree
for
with it. It's
Russia
stupid.
and North Korea, is like the
I'm
definition.
not talking about Trump's policies.
Okay,
though.
it's
I'm
the
talking about
definition of
Kamala's.
disastrous. But when we're
Trump's-
talking about Kamala,
Trump's,
we're comparing
yes,
the two
are
candidates.
inflationary. Kamala's would have literally killed investment. Like,
They would not
completely
have.
murdered it. What do you think happens when you take 25% of gains that haven't even been sold in investment? And then on top of that, once they do sell them, you take another 28%. Do you think
Listen,
anyone's going to want to
Wait,
invest
can
with
I,
that?
real quick? So I think that the nice thing about Kamala Harris is that I agree that some of her economic policy probably wouldn't have been great, but the nice thing about like bad economic policy from Democrats is that I know it'll be checked by other people in the administration. Donald Trump has absolutely no checks on any of the crazy economic stuff he does. So in terms of increasing like the child tax credit, I think Kamala could have done that, and I think it would have been fine, and I think we'd have been okay with that. But like in terms of like all the crazy deductions, everything she would have pushed for, or like the wealth tax or whatever, I think that the economic advisors would have actually checked Kamala and said like, hey, this is maybe not a great idea.
Okay, so-
but for Trump,
yeah.
nobody
So
checks
wait,
Trump
just
on
to,
any of
just
his
to
economic
clarify,
policy.
your argument here is you don't think her policies actually would have been pushed, so basically we should vote for her?
Yes, because
I think that's
it's the
pretty
same thing-
ridiculous.
well, you say it's ridiculous, but the issue is that like Donald Trump has gotten us to accept a world where a 10% tariff on every single country is like the moderate option, and any economist
Yeah.
prior to Trump would have said like that's like
That-
suicide.
no,
so
that is
I
a
think the
problem.
issue is
I
that like
agree. I
so
don't
if a
think his
Democrat comes in
economic
with like
policies are
crazy
good.
shit, a Democrat will say I feel the same way about Mamdani in New York, where it's like if a Democrat does some crazy stuff, like their economic advisor will be like, hey, this is probably like too much, and they'll listen. Whereas Donald Trump will say, we should just come on the media and like say this for today, and let's like fucking do this, and nobody has the actual like the goal to actually check Trump and say
Okay,
like, hey,
so-
this is a really bad idea. So
I
the
want to
reason why,
ask you this then.
Yeah.
So if hypothetically the economic advisors are out of the question, their policies will be passed, then would you agree with me that Kamala's policies would be worse for the economy?
like possibly, but that would never happen. I don't think that Kamala's
okay, so
worst
we're
ideas would have actually gotten
hinging
passed.
it on basically it won't happen, to be clear.
Well, but like, do you understand there's a difference between Kamala and Trump, and that whatever Trump says goes? Like, hold on, like, let's be real. Like, for instance, when Donald Trump held up the tariff sign, that was a total lie, right? When he said that
The
every country's
Liberation Day tariffs.
yeah, when
Yeah,
he said
yeah,
that
yeah.
every single country's tariffing us like this, that was a lie, right?
Yeah, I don't agree with his tariff
Kamala would have
policies.
never
I am
done that.
not
Wait.
defending his tariff policies.
Kamala
I'm just
would-
saying Kamala's policies were absolutely disastrous and would have killed any investment
Yeah, but like,
whatsoever.
but the worst of Kamala's policies would have never made it past any economic advisors,
also,
right?
Also, acting like Kamala.
Can I get an acknowledgement on that? The worst
Wait,
of her policies would have never actually like gotten passed, right?
I'm not going to debate whether or not they would have. I think that
Okay,
you
wait,
should
wait.
be
What
able
was
to.
the worst? Wait,
I
wait.
think
What was the worst economic policy that Biden passed?
the worst that he passed? He didn't have the same platform that Kamala
Wait,
did.
wait. You
These
know,
were-
wait. I
these-
just want to check. I just want to sanity check. Kamala Harris was the vice president under
Yes,
Joe Biden.
I am
right?
aware,
Okay,
but
wait,
to
wait.
be
So
clear,
wait.
to be clear, wait,
No, wait.
can I clarify real quick?
Stop. No,
These were all
I'm on the stage.
policies.
I get to ask. I get to ask a question. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop. Kamala Harris would have been checked by her economic advisors if it was truly a disastrous policy. But Donald Trump is not checked by anybody, right?
I don't necessarily agree with that. No.
Wait, what do you mean? But you can't cite me
even if I grant that, I think you should be able to defend the policies in the party you support's platform at the very least.
You're not going to defend tariffs, though. You're conservative and you won't defend tariffs.
No, I'm defending it from the.
So you think we should be able to defend Kamala's fringe policies?
Let me finish.
Okay,
let me finish, please. I'm defending it from a perspective of his policies are not as bad as Kamala's. That is not a strong stance. I agree, but at least I can defend it from that.
Wait. Do you think what would Kamala have passed that's worse than the Trump current tariff thing?
Wait, what? Sorry?
What would Kamala have passed reasonably that is worse than Trump's current tariff regime?
The unrealized gains tax, the 8% increase in capital gains tax. Again, you can claim it won't pass, but you're hinging your argument on, the policy platform wouldn't have happened. So
yeah, but
if you don't want to support your policy platforms, then we
reasonably say that
agree.
because Democrats are actually concerned with fucking running the fucking country, right? You acknowledge that like the country's been fucked by Republicans over and over again since Clinton, and Democrats have to come in and like clean shit up, right? So isn't it fair for us to say, well, Democrats should probably follow what their economic advisors say? Donald Trump has like
I don't think it's fair to say that your party's platform doesn't matter because it's not going to be passed.
No. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's that she would probably push in that direction. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is literally trying to find people to sit on the Federal Reserve who will cut interest rates because he knows it's the only way to save his horrible fucking economy, right? You don't think Kamala would ever do that, right?
Sorry,
there's no history of Kamala Harris or Joe Biden pressuring the Federal Reserve to drop the interest rate like there is with Donald Trump, right?
That's disastrous. Off the top of my head, but yeah, it's just the policies themselves. Again, I just find a lot of trouble.
Bro, hold on. We gotta live in the real world. You agree with that, right? We need to be in the real world.
Wait, what?
We need to be in the real world, right? Okay,
yeah,
Donald Trump right now, you acknowledge that Donald Trump...
the real world, you still should
in the real world right now, Donald Trump is talking about putting a new Federal Reserve Board person on the Federal Reserve that will follow his direct instruction, right? You acknowledge that, right?
I'm not entirely sure about that. What I'm talking about is, again, the platforms...
Donald Trump is literally trying to criminalize people on the Federal Reserve, like making up like fake bullshit indictments about like mortgage fraud.
You've never heard him say too late Powell, too late Jerome? You're not aware of this? You're aware of Kamala's capital gains tax policy?
Has Joe Biden ever said hey, we need to do this on the Federal Reserve?
Regardless, what I am asking about is the platform of the Democratic Party in the 2024 election. If it were to be passed compared to the platform, or actually no, I'd even say the implemented economic policies. I'm asking you guys to defend that, and you can't defend your own party's platform, and you're basically just saying it wouldn't have passed.
I don't agree with Kamala's platform entirely, but when we're making a decision in the 2024 election, when I was making the decision, I was thinking, which candidate's policies are more disastrous? And it's absolutely Donald Trump's 10 out of 10 times.
Because Donald Trump will pass anything, and none of you guys, for whatever reason, have the balls to actually fucking say, Donald Trump, no.
Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's bad if he is bullying the chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell? If he is breaking that separation and trying to bully Jerome Powell into taking action, do you think that's bad?
Do I think it's bad if he's bullying Jerome Powell?
Do you know Jerome Powell?
Yes, I do know who Jerome Powell is. Yeah, I'd say it probably is, but again,
it's not just bad, it's unprecedented, it's fascistic, and the president isn't supposed to have an effect on interest rates.
Again,
if the president is changing interest rates on his own instinct...
Yeah, I don't think the government should have an effect on interest rates.
Okay, of course,
That's a whole other thing.
Okay, so when I'm looking at my two candidates, and I see some of Kamala's fringe ideas that I disagree with, that I wouldn't defend. I'd actually, if I was talking to Kamala, I would debate Kamala on
Trump's implemented policies versus the Democratic Party platform, and I haven't heard a defense of the Democratic Party platform. All I've heard is Trump. I'm asking about
Kamala Harris had a first-time homebuyers policy that created an incentive for people our age.
Yes, and
Kamala Harris had multiple small business policies. Kamala Harris had multiple policies that helped small businesses start up. Kamala Harris had incremental policies that she would have put into place, and it's a more populist policy that probably would have gotten swatted down, just like Biden's student loan relief, just like the ambitious stuff that Biden tried got swatted down. This would happen to Kamala's policy.
Yeah, I'm not asking about what you think is going to get swatted down. I'm asking the policies themselves.
Okay, listen, this is the problem. I've asked you like 10 times about Trump's tariffs, and you go, I won't defend that, but then you go, I want you to defend Kamala's fringe policies that you don't support. I don't support capital gains tax.
I'm asking you to just show me that the economy would function under Kamala's policies. Like there would be no investment.
You want to know what the problem is?
Completely stifled. And
okay, wait, let me go ahead. So the stock market growth has slowed down since Trump took office because of his tariffs. Unemployment has gone up since Trump took office because of his tariffs and a few other issues. Inflation.
Yeah, imagine how bad that would have been if we had a 25% 25% tax on unrealized gains, and 8%
inflation has gone up since Trump took office. All of these indicators were going down as Biden was leaving. Trump has legitimately. You know what's not impressive? It's not impressive that the stock market's hitting all-time highs. It's impressive that Trump has crashed the stock market 3 separate times during his presidency and slowed the growth of it. That's the impressive part. Would Kamala Harris have crashed the stock market on April 9th? Liberation Day tariffs.
Would she have crashed the stock market? She would have completely destroyed it. She wanted a 28% tax, like an 8% increase on capital gains tax, a 25%.
What is so bad about an increase on capital gains tax?
It heavily disincentivizes investment.
No, it
raises
doesn't.
the time
What do you
preference.
mean?
Yes, it does.
How does
What are we
it?
talking about? How does it? Basically, what you're doing is you're saying once you make money from your investment and you take it out, then you're going to get less of that. You're less incentivized if you're going to get less at the end.
I just want to tell you, I got a lot of money invested, okay? Do you think that like people with more than $5 or $10 or $15 million in investment account are thinking like, oh my God, 25% capital gains instead of 20%? Like, I'm not going to be able to invest my money anymore? What do you think they're going to do? Hide it in their fucking pillow?
No. First, she's taking 25% when your money is not even pulled out yet. When it's just there, materializing.
No, are you talking about the wealth tax?
Then,
Are you talking about like a wealth tax?
I'm talking about the unrealized gains tax.
No, listen, I agree with you. The unrealized capital gains tax is so stupid.
It's so dumb.
But the thing is, here's the difference. When Kamala Harris says it, when Democrats have a really dumb idea, they can't get it done. We can look at examples of this. For Biden wanted to do like OSHA mandates for vaccines, and he wanted to do like Department of Education stuff for like forgiving student loans. And when they were stopped, Biden said, "Oh, well, I guess they're stopped." Now the far left attacks him for that, but the reality is that Democrats respect the 3 branches of government. Donald Trump says, "I'm going to do as much as I can until I basically have to be forced to actually stop the particular thing."
Yes.
So if Kamala wanted to do a wealth tax, I don't think she would ever go.
Question?
Yeah.
Basically, so you agree if she was able to get all of her policies passed, basically if she acted like you claim Trump does, which then would you agree that her policies are worse?
Even if that was the case, it wouldn't be as disastrous as the insane tariff regime that Donald Trump has enacted, where Donald Trump is the sole gatekeeper.
I think having some inflation from tariffs is not as bad as having literally no investment.
Hold on, we wouldn't have literally no investment. Do you think American businesses are worth investing in at a higher capital gains rate?
Investment would go down like this. Like
you realize manufacturing.
Why would you invest in American companies knowing that we're going to be like reciprocally tariffed by every single other country on the planet?
Tariffs are way worse for incentivizing.
Tariffs are so bad.
You realize manufacturing in the United States has gone down.
This is just deflecting to tariffs. I want address the
what we're trying to say is that like the tariffs would have never happened under Kamala because the economic advisor would say, "Hey, these tariffs are a really bad idea." But for Trump, none of the Republicans actually brave enough to say like, "Hey, don't do this."
Would say that actually they would have overturned his initial tariffs from from his 2016 presidency, but that's besides the point. She's not anti-tariff, to be clear. But regardless,
wait. There's a difference between Kamala wanting to do surgical targeted tariffs on countries versus Trump placing tariffs on every fucking country, save Russia and North Korea.
Yeah.
That's retarded. That's different.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the tariffs were a good policy.
Okay,
I think he is
how come you can say that?
How come
you can say that? But when I say I don't think unrealized gains is a good policy, that's like the end of the world.
Because I'm asking you to defend it comparing the two parties.
I thought which was worse.
Yeah. Which one's worse is what I'm asking.
Okay, and I think it's Trump's. I think that Trump has slowed the growth of the stock market, increased unemployment. His tariffs have been such a disaster, they've actually disincentivized investments. So for the tariffs, for example, what you want is continuity between administrations. So when, say, J.D. Vance or Gavin Newsom gets in, that administration still has the incentive for companies to come to the United States. When you place tariffs via executive order, like Trump is doing, it's all via executive order, right? When you do that, there's no continuity. So in 4 years, companies don't have any reason to be here. Like, when you're making these investment decisions, they are long-term investments. A company's coming to the United States, that's decades, dude. That's like, you're there for like 20, 30 years to gain a profit. When there's no continuity, what they see right now are 2 trade zones in the United States. One big red trade zone that says in the world. 2 trade zones in the world. One red blob that says the United States. It says, do not go through the United States. They have a 10% tariff on everyone. Then there's the rest of the world, which has an average tariff of, I think, like 3.5%. So when you're looking at your 2 shipping routes, do you want to ship it to the United States and get tariffed to shit, or the rest of the planet, which has a lower tariff rate? Do you get what I'm saying here? Like, the incentive structure that Trump is creating is not strong. The stock market is slowed in growth. Unemployment.
Again, I'm asking. I still haven't heard an adequate defense of Kamala's.
The stock market would be higher if Kamala were in office. The stock market would unequivocally be higher.
The whole economy would be doing better if
the
Kamala
whole
was in
economy
office.
would be doing better.
Again,
we
with
wouldn't
an
have this whole
8%
tariff
increase
regime.
in capital gains tax and a 25% unrealized gains tax,
It wouldn't
that's
have
hard to believe.
Who cares?
the investors that
Dude,
run
I'm an investor. I don't give a fuck. Why would you care about the 25% versus 15% or whatever? Like, it doesn't matter that much.
It's 0% right now.
I'm a what?
You'd literally just.
Wait. What do you think I would do with my money otherwise if it was 25% versus 15%?
Versus 0% unrealized gains?
Wait. Oh, unrealized? Unrealized shit would have never passed.
Unrealized is so dumb, dude. I hate unrealized tax.
Okay, so I think we agree on unrealized gains.
We can ask. Ready? This is the killer question. What was the worst economic policy that Biden realized?
The worst economic policy.
The worst economic.
Yeah,
the worst one. The fact that you even have to think about it speaks volumes to that, right?
Well,
Donald Trump.
No.
Ignore these guys. Fuck, they're dick riders, okay? But like, I'm saying that like
because I mean, regardless, I don't think Biden and Kamala had the same platform. So I of course have to think about it when I was thinking.
I might be too far gone.
Yeah.
Kamala was the vice president, right?
I think so.
She was, but she's very Biden.
Biden was Obama's vice president, right?
All 4 policies I listed at the start were policies that Biden did not have in his platform.
But I'm just saying that like Biden seemed to do an okay job at guiding the economy. Same way with Obama, right?
No, I think that Medicare Medicare for all was disastrous.
We didn't get Medicare for
or sorry, Obamacare.
Wait, if the ACA was such a fucking disaster, why is Trump trying to claim it so much? When Trump is like, oh, we need to have like the increased rate of where you're like 25 or 26.
The status quo in general is absolutely terrible. But I think the
have you
Democratic
seen the
Party
graph where it's like the healthcare costs they increased slower under Obamacare than they did under the when they were prior to that? Wait, what part of the ACA do you think is bad?
What part of it is bad? It's inherently inflationary on Medicare.
Everything, bro. Healthcare is more expensive because we have more fucking healthcare. All of it is inflationary. What do you mean? Of course.
Yeah, but no, the inflation actually did increase after the Obamacare.
Yeah, but it was increasing at a slower rate, right? This is your first derivative, right? It's increased at a slower. The rate of change is lower than the first rate of change. Then it was.
No.
It was. Wait. Hold on. You're about to fucking completely own me. Okay, ready? This is your chance to totally own me. What was Trump's alternative again?
What was Trump's alternative?
What was the Trump alternative?
To the healthcare?
To the ICA, yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, there's a reason why you're not.
I'm not asking you. I'm not asking you about Trump. I am asking you about Kamala.
Wait. Hold on. I just want to check with Adam. I'm going to confer with Adam real quick. It was Biden who was like, we should cap the cost on certain drugs, right?
Yeah.
And hold on. Didn't Trump say we should keep doing that, but call it like the Trump shit, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
All you guys are doing is just attacking the other side, but you won't defend your own.
I'm attacking the other side because they suck shit. They suck shit. They're horrible.
When he asked what the worst policy that Biden realized is, and we didn't have an answer, it's not.
I'm asking about Kamala, not Biden.
No. It's not that you didn't have an answer. It's that your lack of answers show that there were mechanisms in place during Biden's term that would shoot down.
Biden was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Where's that guy in the crowd? Biden was the best. But no, like. There were mechanisms in place that would shoot down Trump's awful economic policy, Biden's awful economic policy, or like policies that he was trying to pass that were out there. Trump, we haven't seen that. Now, the Supreme Court is hearing the tariff argument right now, but we've just seen so much leeway with the tariffs that it's already been bad for the economy. I think the question that you asked was which one would be worse. But then you keep trying to pin us down on Kamala, and we'll answer for any of Trump's.
Can we say, what would Kamala Harris do that's as bad as the current tariff shit?
Unrealized gains, 25%.
She wouldn't have gotten that passed, though, right?
Okay, so if your argument's hinging on that, that's fine.
I'm asking if it were passed. Our argument is that Democrats follow rule of law. Yes, that is the argument. That's kind of been the whole fucking deal with the Trump admin.
Okay,
yeah.
so you agree then? It's just you only agree that it would have been better because it wouldn't have passed.
Yes.
There are guardrails.
Okay,
you agree that it would have passed, right? You agree that it would have passed, right?
I don't necessarily think it would. I'm asking you to defend your party's platform.
No. He's not saying that it would be better because it wouldn't have passed.
Yeah.
He's saying that there were actual guardrails and mechanisms in place that the Democrats respected that Republicans clearly don't respect. Not to take it.
It was in the party platform. To be clear,
but unrealized tax gains is not in the Democratic Party platform.
Read the 2024 platform.
Unrealized.
Yes.
I mean, then that's dumb. I'm not going to defend that. But listen. This one fringe policy from Kamala is far outweighed by Donald Trump's economic retardation on a daily basis. Kamala Harris would not have bullied Jerome Powell. Bullying the Fed chair is like legit next level hungry Viktor Orban shit. Kamala Harris had some dumb policies that I'm not going to defend, but there's a problem here that I keep going back to. You're asking us which are worse. You keep pinning us down on Kamala's fringe policy, but you won't defend anything Trump has done. You don't know about the Federal Reserve. You don't care about the tariffs. When we're comparing, you at least have to put up the affirmative argument for your side, at least.
Yeah, also,
The
we'll give you
affirmative
the last
argument
word
is
on
just
this, but
that
we
it
need to move
causes
on to the
less
next
economic
yeah.
impact than Kamala's policies. A 25% unrealized gains tax, like I said, would kill investment. He would not have an economy under Kamala.
Can I say, first of all, you did a really good job. Thank you so much. We debated our Jubilee. We got a Jubilee coming out, and this guy and my Jubilee, we had a really good debate.
Yes, thank you, Adam.
Thank
really
you for the
good
conversation.
Stuff. No, genuinely, you did well.
You were great too, my brother. Yeah. Yeah, thank you guys.
That was some good shit.